right, so we'll go ahead and I don't think we're gonna do an intro because I don't even know how to start it. So this will be kind of the intro. This will be our first Team Dirt and Vert podcast, YouTube, whatever. Chat. Or I don't. We'll find a name for it, and hopefully the recording goes okay. Because last time I tried it with Jen, I only recorded my screen. So I didn't even know. Maybe I was on. It was because of my view. So there's Jess. So I have some questions that we prepared, but I don't know if Jen does. But we'll just go kind of free flow. We mainly wanted to have you two on, you, Nick, and you, Jessica, because you recently had pretty big races at Rocky, and you both always are always at our group runs. So we're wanting to try to do some more for the community, and we tried the newsletter, and we were pretty good for a few months, but with our schedules and everything, that newsletter is actually kind of hard to put together. So I think it's easier to do it like this, and maybe it's not as clean, but maybe it'll be fun. And so we'll try this. So I'm gonna let Jen start with any questions that she has.
All right. Well, what was the most surprising thing about your race, about your accomplishment?
I'll go first. Jen, can you hear me?
Yeah.
The most surprising thing about the race was, I really don't know how to answer that. The most surprising thing was, I don't know. It really went not according to plan, because nothing ever goes according to plan, but just, it's hard, right? 100-mile race is hard. And I tried this last year, got to mile 80. So kind of knew what to expect, I guess, to mile 80, but it always looks different. Your body is always changing, and it's always going to be different. So, as I was finishing the third loop, I was like, I don't need poles. I don't need the poles. And then when I pulled in, I was like, I need the poles. Like, my knee was hurting. My hips were just so tight. I was like, why do I need poles on Rocky? Like, it's not a super big, hilly course or mountainous course, but it really helped. So I was surprised at how the poles helped me, like, just support with that, especially the knee pain. I was having some sharp knee pains, like at the bottom of my knee. Not all the time. It would just kind of be when I went down. And so it really helped support. And it was just one of those pains that kind of went away a couple of days after the race. So that was probably my most surprising thing about the.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I think the most surprising thing for me was, I was prepping so much to actually run the race that I kind of neglected knowing that it was going to be 20 degrees overnight the night before. So originally I had my tent and my blow up mattress, and I brought a sleeping bag that I hadn't pulled out of the its container or whatever forever. And I literally put on every piece of clothing I brought, got in the sleeping bag, ended up sleeping on the floor or the ground, basically in Denny's tent, because he already had his tent set up at the start finish line. So I'll call it sleep that night. I got 3.5 hours, maybe. Did get some deep though. So when I knocked out pretty good, but it was an early morning for me because I couldn't stand it anymore. So I got up at 3:30 in the morning and just cracked open an energy drink, got in my truck, and turned on the heat. And that was when I was starting my day. But as far as the run goes, I think the thing that was most surprising for me, but also not surprising for me, was how much fun I had just running it with someone else. Denny and I, at the very beginning of the race and the night before, we kind of talked about our strategies, realized that we were both running about the same pace, had about the same goals. So we decided to just tag team the race together, and we ran every step of the race the entire time together. And I mean, we had a blast out there. We ended up picking up 2 other guys that ran. One guy ran about 20 or 30 miles with us. So we have a new friend now. And another guy we picked up for 5 or so miles, and he ran out in front of us, so I never saw him again. But yeah, I think I mean, the miles were just ticking off. We were having a great day. We were playing games out there and everything. The course they had the alphabet out there every so often.
That was helpful.
So the game was the first person to see the letter gets a point. So we were just kind of staying alert, looking out for those letters, kind of took your mind off the miles and conversation. I mean, we just had a great time. I mean, I've had worse runs on a 5-mile run than that 62, but I'm not saying it was easy by any means, but I think those distractions definitely took my mind off of it.
Yeah.
I will say that was a fun race to meet people. I met a lot of people on the course and just started running with them and just had great conversations, and that was a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, so I want to give I did a little ultra sign up stalking, so I want to give some background on at least not. Well, I'll let you guys touch on how you trained, but I know, you talked about, Jess, that you tried Rocky last year, but you've also got some longer ultras with Wild Hair 50, Black Canyon 100K, and you also did 4 50Ks this year, or not, I guess last year, leading up to Rocky. And Nick,
yes.
You did Grasslands last year. Wild Hair 50 was your first 50, and then you did Dallas 50K on the road. But
Terrible.
Yeah, I know Nick specifically had IT band flare up. That was a couple months ago. But I guess for the people that are trying to make their debut at the 100K and the 100-mile, talk about, I guess, Jess, if you want to start first, talk about, I like how you did your lead up with, doing those 50Ks as tune-up races, whether it's a long run, dry run, training race. So I'll let you both talk about how you picked your races, or if you had a specific reason, and how that leaded up to the race.
Okay, I'll go first. Yeah, the 50Ks I picked, a lot of times the 50Ks I pick are based on the kids, because I've got 2 fairly small kids. So the first one I picked was actually in Georgia, which had a lot of vertical gain. A little more surprised, that really surprised me on that one, but it was actually a lot of fun. I picked that because I was over fall break. My mom lives there, so she could watch the kids. So it was kind of a perfect race. And it was a fairly new one. And they actually rerouted the course for us, and we gained another 1,000 feet of elevation gain and loss in that just a week before, just to keep things interesting. So that was basically went up a mountain, went back down the mountain. So it was that was a lot of fun. And then I picked Rock Ledge, and then I picked Running the Rose to lead up to the big one. Again, I have small kids, so it's kind of hard to get a super long run in the week. My whole week always looks like a puzzle of where I can fit in a run, where I can fit in training. So those were the races I picked just to lead up. Those were good ones because they're kind of sort of resemble what Rocky looks like. So I wanted to pick races that look like that, so I could kind of look at nutrition, look at hydration and things of that nature, what I want to wear. I knew it could be cold, and Running the Rose was cold to start. So It was good to do those. So, and they were local-ish, so I could just, go up there on a weekend and do it. So.
Yeah, well, I'm fairly new to running in general and trail running. I started picking up running early 2021 and started running with Team Dirt and Vert right after I ran the Grasslands Marathon. And since then, just kind of weekly training. I don't run a ton of miles. I also do some indoor cycling on the bike though. So my training is basically hills on the bike with some high intensity cardio there too, a couple times a week. I probably run anywhere from like 20 to 30 miles a week. I'm not saying that's the best plan, but it's worked for me. Being new to running too, I'm pretty conscious about not, trying to run all the miles and beat up my body. Mixing in cycling with that has definitely helped me too. I'm doing some kind of strength and mobility exercises as well, and stretching, foam rolling have kept me relatively injury free. My first 50K was at the Dan Man Challenge in Medill, Oklahoma. So that was kind of a big milestone for me to hit that ultra runner mark so early into me running. And then Jessica, you said that you ran the Wild Hare 50. That was actually my first 50 miler that I approached this November, I think it was. And I had a lot to learn from that race, I think. And it was a confidence boost, but also kind of had me questioning the 100K a little bit, because I had a hard time getting through it. I was next to DFL, and I wanted to beat the night, but that didn't work. And after that, was kind of having some like shin pain and IT band pain as well. And I had signed up for the Dallas 50K on the road, and I was feeling kind of decent. So I figured I would just run it. I signed up for that race before I even started trail running, so I didn't want to cancel it or anything. So I knew it'd be a good tune-up for Rocky. So I went out there and ran it. I didn't have road shoes, so I ran it in the Hoka, what is it? The Challenger ATR6, the hybrid trail road shoe. So in retrospect, those probably weren't the best shoes to run a 31 miles on, and found some shin pain after that. But I didn't run a ton of miles between the Dallas 50K in December and Rocky here at the beginning of February. And I think I'm someone that has realized that like an extreme taper, almost a no running taper for me the week before, is probably the best move. So I kind of dial in my training to include that. A little bit of kind of shakeout cycling early in the week before a race, I think works well for me. I'm new to trail running, so shakeout for me, just it seems like it's subtracting, I think, at this point in my running journey. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with training. I don't run a ton of miles, but Greg and Jen always put in a ton of work as far as like yoga and stretching and strength and all those things. And I think that has really paid off, and that philosophy kind of works out, because sometimes you see a ton of people run hundreds of miles a week and come to a race burn out and tired, and they've probably peaked a couple weeks before the race, and you're overreaching when it comes to the race, and then kind of may end up injured after. So that's what's worked for me so far.
Yep. There's a lot to be said about sacrificing a little bit of fitness to start to get to the race completely healthy. So it looks like, everyone knows their body. So, yeah. And there's definitely no one way to do everything. So it sounds like you made the right choice as far as your taper. Jen, did you have anything to follow up?
Well, it's just impressive that Nick is so new to running and is not completely obsessed with how many miles he runs all the time.
I agree. That's good. Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive. Not many people are able to do that.
So what, let's see, I have a funnier question. I'm going to save that for later, but so I guess this is a two-part question for Jess. So I know what last year's Rocky, can you pinpoint, what what was the key reason, or what combinations or reasons resulted in you not making it out for that the other loop? And what did you do this year, and how did it go differently this year? How did you fix
Fix
what
the
issue
problem?
was? Yep.
Well, last year I made a rookie mistake. I had some burning in the bottom of my feet, and I thought it was a shoe issue. And so I made a shoe change in the middle of training. Not smart. I've been running long enough to know better than that, and I still did it. And a week out from the race, I noticed like there was a little pain in my shin. And again, I did the whole taper, did not run, did not walk, didn't do anything on it. And that's what caused it. I think it was, I got, the next day after the race, my shin swelled, it turned black and blue. We thought it was a stress fracture, and turned out it was not. There was no real anything, no one ever said what it was. So I think it was some kind of compartmental where the pressure just went straight to my calves. So it took a good 6 months to finally just get rid of the pressure in my calves. So I just kind of took running real easy for the first part of the year this year, and tried to work on that massage. And I do a lot of mobility. I do a lot of things like that. So I didn't shoe change this year, and I kept my miles in check. I cross train more. I always stretch and do mobility. I do that almost every single night in front of the TV. I foam roll, I theragun, I get on a cross ball. So just make sure to really hit those areas that I find weak. So that's really what did it for me last year, I think. So
cool. And Nick, I guess it's a different question since this is your first attempt at 100K, but what was the best lesson that you learned? And maybe there's a takeaway, or what would you definitely do differently other than, not sleeping on the cold ground the morning of?
I think one of the bigger lessons that anyone could learn, maybe from my experiences, surrounded around fueling, I think. And I'm someone that is regularly, using gels on my runs, and using things like a powder in my bottles that I'm going to be using, especially on long runs. Those are something I always implement. And ever since Wild Hair, I set an alert on my Coros watch that basically says fuel every 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I've found for me that, really setting that plan and sticking to the plan that you're planning on fueling every 30 minutes, whether that's gel or, taking a big swig off your bottle or eating something else, and then usually I'm fueling with salt every hour, salt pills or salt chews or something. Nutrition and hydration is super key. I think it's one of the biggest things besides your muscles and mind that are going to bring you through. It's kind of the trifecta of those three things. And I think nutrition's one of the biggest things. Staying on top of it, starting the slow drip from the start. It seems really aggressive when you're 30 minutes into for me, 14 and a half hour run, and you're already taking a gel. It feels weird, but I think the most important thing is that you have a plan, you're sticking to the plan, and you do that the entire time. And it had worked out for me. And I finished the race, felt pretty fresh, didn't have a bonk or anything. I did get a low point for probably about 10 minutes going into the third loop. But there was a couple external motivators that kind of gave me a kick in the rear to get me going. I don't like to run at night by myself. So Denny had took out in front of me. We were about 2 miles into the third loop, and I was like, man, I need to slow down a little bit. I'm feeling weird. And he kind of took off in front of me, and I saw him on a couple of the switchbacks, and I think I hammered down 2 gels, took a huge swig, like might have drank my whole bottle, and then hammered through, and I caught up to him. And, a couple miles down the trail, I was feeling good again. But I think it was that external motivator of me not wanting to run the next, I don't know how many hours by myself and finishing by myself. And I mean, we set out to run together, so that was the plan. And I think that's what kind of took me through.
Now you're kind of teeing up Jen on the nutrition talk. So Jen, you want to get on your soapbox for a little bit about that?
So I was just going to say that 30-minute thing is spot on. Like, I have just changed my alert from 1 hour to 30 minutes, like within the last few weeks. And it was described to me as like, if you wait, your stomach is going to like go to sleep, because we all know that we have a reduced blood flow to our gut when we're exercising. And then if we don't put something in there often enough to keep it working, then it gets really angry when we actually do put something in there. And that's one reason that people end up with some issues with nausea and stuff like that. So that's really smart. Nick, you're really mature. You're a really mature runner.
Well, here's the thing. I don't like to run a ton of miles, and I like to eat. So those there
So
you go.
it works out.
Jess, I have this is kind of a, I have thoughts about choosing pacers, right? So right. I always avoid having significant others pace you. Like I mean, a caveat, Fiona's paced me for Leadville. Right. And she's always crewed me, and super supportive, and she paces everyone very well. But I guess my rule is, you should pick a pacer that really cares about you, but doesn't love you and doesn't have to go home with you. And I know, and we all know, well, not everyone knows, but we all know Greg, and he's funny, a little grumpy, different kind of sense of humor. How is having your husband pace you? How did that work out?
Honestly, he pushed me. So he knows how to push me. So it was, we've been running together for a long time. So and now we realize, because last year the plan with Rocky also was for us to run together for 100 miles. No pacers, nothing. So that was the plan. And he, of course, dropped out. Honestly, and he knows, and I've said this before, the loop that he dropped out was like my best loop. Yeah. So I ended up teaming up with another lady. It was almost like I found my own pacer out there, and we just ran together and talked the whole time. So this year was different. So I guess that it was good, because now we know we can't run these together. So we find ways where we can help support each other and be out there together. So I liked it. It wasn't, he knew how to push me, and he, of course, got on my nerves, but it was a good push. So he motivated me, and no regrets with my pacers. I knew after Eric last year, I said, all right, next year, plan on being my pacer. And so I'd already lined it up. I knew what I was going to do the next year, and I did it. So
the pacer has to be able to give you tough love. I just want to add on, the real reason is, you have, for example, if you have significant others crewing, in the 100 and in the 100K as well, when ones are going over 20 hours, you see your significant other in the, probably one of the lowest moments that you'll ever see them, that could be in pain and extreme discomfort. And it's so easy to I can't see someone I love in pain. You want, let's just drop, you made it 80 miles. That's pretty awesome. So I just want to add, that's my reason why significant others. But if you have someone that can, kind of compartmentalize that and still give you the tough love that you need to get to the finish line, that's perfect. Yep. Yeah.
And that's what we've done for each other. So I think that's key, and we won't let each other quit.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. All right. What do we got next, Jen? You got anything?
Oh, I was going to ask a nutrition question, but Nick just answered all that.
What was your nutrition?
Jess? What was your nutrition, Jess?
Pretty much the same. It was eat early, eat often. I like to start on races. I like to start with eating solid food, because I have a kind of a sensitive stomach. So I don't know how my body's going to react to the miles later as we go on. So that was my plan. I grabbed peanut butter and jellies every single aid station. I had Spring Energy gels of awesome sauce. I had waffles on me. When I pulled into the cruise station, I mean, talk about Fiona, she was just shoveling food into my mouth. Like I was just trying to eat early and eat often. And I'm glad I did, because the later it got, the more just nothing sounded good.
It's hard to eat late.
It is hard to eat.
Yeah, it's gross. Like, food's just gross. But did you have like nausea issues or anything like that? Or it's just that my palate's tired of everything?
My palate was tired of everything. For a little bit, I had some nausea, but nothing crazy. Yeah. It wasn't anything I couldn't work through. But I did find, like, the later miles, like, just caffeine was going, right through me. So it was hard to get like caffeine. So I just kind of stretched like ginger ale and things like that, where sugar, where I needed it. So, but yeah, I mean, I was finally able to eat a little more, and once it got light.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So my favorite part of running 100-miler, like, this is why I don't choose the fast ones that would be fast for me, is because I like to see the sunrise. Like, I don't know. There's something about fighting through that 4 to 6 a.m. and then the sun comes up, and it's like, I don't know. There's just nothing like it. So
it's rejuvenating.
It is rejuvenating. It was. Yeah, it was. I mean, Greg kept telling me, he's like, just wait till the sun comes up. You're going to feel so good. You're going to feel different. And the sun came up, and it was just a good feeling. Like, I mean, I was tired. Everything was tight. Things were hurting, but I never thought like, I'm not going to do this. Like, even in the pain, I was still kind of having fun. Like, it was kind of fun out there. So you got to do something that you love for this long time. Like, and you're suffering through it. And it was just, I asked myself that, like, on the loop with Eric, I said, are you having fun? Of course you don't answer yourself, but yes, I was. Like, it was, I mean, as tough as it is, it's still, I mean, we signed up for it. So, but I knew what I was there to do. So it was great.
Hey, Nick, did you, I know everyone's race went really well. And even, I think I tell everybody, even in the 50K, I always regret that I did the 50K. And when there was like a 25K or a 10K, and then it's going to be exponential with 100K and 100-mile. And Jess said she said she knew that she was going to get it done. Did you ever have a point, maybe during the second loop? I always feel like the second loop, I don't know, even no matter what the race is, like, oh man, I got a long way to go. Did you ever feel like I might not be able to grind this out?
Not at Rocky, but there has been races in my brief past that I like Wild Hair. I was wondering if I was going to make it because I was coming up on the cutoff too. I think the Wild Hair 50-mile cutoff was like,
it's tight,
15.
Yeah.
And I finished in like 13:05 or something. So, I mean, and I was pretty close to DFL too. So, I mean, I was, wondering, but I don't know, Rocky just from the start, we went out pretty good. And I think having the plan and the pace, and with the pace we were running, we knew it was a sustainable pace. I pretty much run by heart rate. So like when my heart would pop up a little bit, I would drop my pace a little bit just to keep my energy output equal. So, I knew that a lot of times what happens is people will go out on the first loop and kind of smoke themselves and then be playing catch up the whole time. I found something that has worked for me has just, humbling myself at the very beginning, letting everybody pass me. And then you'd be surprised when you stick to your plan, how many people you saw run out early that you end up passing later on, or checking out the results list later and may possibly seeing a DNF.
Yep.
But I just had a ton of fun running at Rocky. And I mean, the 100K distance, I'll probably run another one here and have like a totally different story. But it was just like everything clicked. It was a good day.
Cool.
Very cool.
Now let's see. I Ultra Sign Up stalked everyone. Hold on. I think we got 10 minutes left. So I know Jess I think your next race is you're going to do our Ramble 18 miler.
Yes.
And Nick, you're going to do one loop, the 9 miler at the Ramble. But then you have I think 3 50Ks scheduled.
Yeah, I think so. I'd have to look at my notes, but
Coyote, Possums, and Lake Murray.
Yep.
Okay.
And then last night I actually added something to that. I added the Dan Man half marathon.
Okay.
Mainly because I know they start about 8, which means I would finish about lunchtime, and they serve a big barbecue lunch out there. So I'm gonna run 2 loops and then eat their barbecue.
All right. So not that 50K is not a big race, but who's eyeing? What's the next 100K, 100 miler that you guys are looking at?
Go
ahead, Jess.
Me, well, the next one I'm actually signed up for is Bighorn 52.
Oh.
So, yep. I don't think that's on the ultra sign up.
No, it's not on ultra sign up. I would have noticed that.
Yep. So that is the next one that I am signed up for. So I am trying to work on my more vertical gains. Yep. So that's my goals. I guess that's my long-term goals. Is I'm not going to be a gen. I don't know. Maybe one day, but I'm gearing up just to do that. I don't know what the next 100 is. I definitely want to do one. Pretty pumped. I'm ready to get back training. So, right. But I know to take it easy and just ease back into it. So, but yeah, that's the next big one for me. And then pacing at Croldgel. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Well, Jen and I will both be at Bighorn.
Okay, great.
Yep. Nick, you got anything past Lake Murray? Or are you going to squeeze something big in between?
No, not in between. I'm setting my sights on the Dino Valley 100 in November 19th.
Okay.
I'm going to run a few 50Ks up to then, just kind of keep myself fit over the summer, probably not run any big races like 50K distance in the summer. I might do some long runs, 20, 25 miles maybe, but I'm not going to start ramping up again until Lake Murray. That'll be kind of my tune-up run. And then I didn't know anyone at Wild Hare when I was running the 50, and I was honestly kind of bored. So it was the same weekend as Dino Valley, and I was really jealous that people out there having so much fun. So I signed up for it. I know there's going to be a ton of people there, Dirt and Vert, Dallas Dirt Runners. So I'm excited to be out there with everyone and looking for some pacers too to get me through the night.
Cool.
I bet we can find you some.
Yeah. That's not gonna be a problem. Well, unless Jen has anything to add, we probably only have 6 minutes left. I just want to say thanks for being the guinea pigs and coming on, and hopefully this records for one, and anybody that actually watches it finds it entertaining. But it was good. For me personally, it was awesome to see you both do well at Rocky and get to witness it in person, because we're lucky to be able to run with both of you and see some of your training. So it's fun to see that the icing on the cake happen, and you guys have good races. It looks like you're both recovering pretty well. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you guys, and thanks for being out there. It was great to see familiar faces out there.
Yeah, we'll never miss it. Yep.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for having us. It was fun.
All right. You guys have a good night.
All right. You too.
All right. Bye.